The Unhappy Hour on the new AmericanMedia.com.
All right, we are back. If you're listening live, that took just a moment. And if you're listening after the fact, thank you very much. And I'm just going to go ahead and assume that you're listening to us on the new AmericanMedia.com. If that's the case, thank you very much. If not, please go check it out. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia. And like our Facebook page, if you go to thenewamericanmedia.com, it's on the bottom right. You just click it. And our Twitter feed is over there as well. We're at American_media_. We're back with NBA scout and lifelong Cleveland sports fan, Zak Baris. Zak, we are ready to do a mock draft. It's finally here. No more pushing it off. Cleveland Cavaliers selecting number 1. I believe we already said
Julius Randle.
Wait, I thought you said
Andrew.
I'm
going with Andrew Wiggins.
I was gonna flip my table over here. I was just gonna. You know what? I give up. I got nothing. Okay, so going with Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah, I'm going with Wiggins at 1. Milwaukee 2. I think right now, I mean, Milwaukee could wind up jumping the gun and taking Dante Exum, but I tend to think they go in the direction that I'm going in. And I say Jabari Parker. Your game changer right there. Milwaukee's been sitting in purgatory for a long time. They haven't had a high enough pick. They haven't, they haven't been good enough. They were always at 8-seed playoff or just missing the playoffs for a long time. Milwaukee's finally there. They have a good young potential. They've got a good young core. I like Jabari Parker in the slot, which brings me to number 3 in Philadelphia. I can tell you right now, I would be shocked if Philly took Embiid at 3. If he's there at 10, we'll take him. But if he's there at 3, you already have a center that had problems last year in Nerlens Noel with a torn ACL. You're not going that route again. You're going Dante Exum at this point. Now, I'm hearing the deal that Philly could swap picks with the Lakers. It doesn't make sense to me that Philly would give up in this deal Michael Carter-Williams, Thaddeus Young, and the number 3 overall pick and get Steve Nash in 7. I don't get that.
Steve Nash? What?
I don't get it. I don't understand it. So
does Nash have a huge expiring salary?
Yeah, it's not that big. I mean, it makes no sense to me, and it suddenly puts LA back into basketball relevancy. It really does. If you get Carter Williams to pair with Kobe and the number 3 overall pick, in Dante Exum, suddenly Kobe becomes expendable, and then you've got a really good young.
Hold on, who are the Sixers getting in this deal?
That's the thing. They'd be getting the 7th overall pick and Steve Nash. There has to be something else in it, but. That's what I've heard, and I just don't get it.
That doesn't make any sense on the Sixers' point of view. So we'll pause and see if there's any awesome deal that comes together. But really, I mean, we're just playing fantasy football trades that nobody will accept. That just sounds ridiculous to me.
Here's where it gets interesting with Orlando, because I think you can go in a few directions. I tend to think Orlando could go with a project. Noah Vonleh from Indiana. I think he's a possibility here. I think Marcus Smart's a possibility. I don't see really anyone else other than Joel Embiid if you're willing to take that risk right there. And I think that's where as high as Embiid would go is 4 to Orlando. But I'm going to go with Noah Vonleh. He played last year. He was very good. His potential's off the charts. I think he's a little bit more of a project. I think he's really shot up draft boards over the past couple of months.
He has.
The season ended. He really has. I mean, don't forget, Marcus Smart was the pick all year for a couple months ago for this, and now Exum blew past him. I'm going to go here with Noah Vonleh. That's just my choice right now at this pick. And then at 5 with Utah, I see them having trouble passing on Joel Embiid. So I'm going to put Embiid to Utah. At 6, this is another where I'm a little torn, because I look in this spot, Marcus Smart's still available. Julius Randle's available. Aaron Gordon's available. All 3 of them are on the board. This just depends on going what the Celtics want. I can't see them taking Randle if you've got Jared Solinger in the fold. It doesn't make any sense to me. It makes no sense to take Julius Randle if you're the Celtics.
But I mean, is Solinger a long-term option there?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay.
And he played very well last year. And so it's Aaron Gordon. It's Aaron Gordon at this point, or it's Marcus Smart. If Boston's willing to trade Rajon Rondo, I think Marcus Smart could very well be the pick. If it's me, I'm taking Aaron Gordon. You know how much I love Aaron Gordon. I'd take Aaron Gordon at this spot.
So then, is that the pick then, Aaron Gordon?
Yeah. For Sacramento, it's 8.
Hold on, wait. 7. We got to go to Lakers.
Oh, seven. I'm sorry. This is where, okay, you've got Marcus Smart and Julius Randle at this pick. It's going to be one of the two. You can either go and you replace Gasol or you get your point guard of the future here. If it's me, it's a point guard driven league. If anyone's going to put Marcus Smart in a check, try to help him mature, it's Kobe at this point of his career. I'm going Marcus Smart. Because the reason I'm going Marcus Smart is because if I'm the Lakers, my number one target at the end of the year is still Kevin Love, who's a power forward. So I'm going to go and take Marcus Smart. That's me. Then at 8 for Sacramento, Julius Randle. Your top 8 guys are off the board now. These are the guys that were in a whole other tier than anyone else. Now you have your fourth tier of players coming off the board. You got your 1, 2, and 3 tier. Well, I can't even put Embiid in there. So you had your 1, 2 tier. You basically had your 3, 4, 5 tier, and you had your 6, 7, 8 tier. And so you had your 1, 2, and 3 tier of the players. You had picks 1 through 8. Now is where it starts to get interesting with the Charlotte Hornets on the clock. And here it's been it's the thing that makes the most sense would be Doug McDermott.
McDermott, huh?
Yeah. I like McDermott in the spot. Charlotte desperately needs a guy who can score on the 3 ball. I think McDermott can create his own shot. I really liked him in college. I thought he was a great player. He's more than an Adam Morrison. I think he'll be much better. I don't like the Adam Morrison comparisons. He's a much better shooter. And lights out, he can go and create himself off the dribble. So I like him. I think he's more physical than Morrison. Everything about him I like. I think he'll be a much better version of Kyle Korver. It's just similar because he and Korver are such great 3 shooters and very similar college careers. But I do believe Doug McDermott could be a very, very sharp NBA player.
And you think he's going to mesh well with the players they already have there in Charlotte?
Oh yeah, I think he'll fit right in. I think he fits right in. I think he's one of the few rookies that could be an NBA ready shooter.
Oh, okay.
Because he's just such a good shooter.
And then we got.
I mean, although JJ Redick was one of the best shooters I've ever seen, it took him a few years to be decent in the NBA. So now we get into the Sixers pick over at 10, which this is where I'm torn. I think a guy like Nick Stauskas can go off the board here. I really do. Or even Dario Saric. This is really the first Euro player to even be mentioned here, and everything I've seen would indicate Saric, but I do like Nick Stauskas a lot. I haven't really paid a ton of attention to Saric. I do like Nick Stauskas a lot.
For what reason? Who does he remind you of?
I just love Stauskas. I love his style of play. He's a great shooter. He's a fantastic shooter. Something Philly lacks, and the thing with Michael Carter-Williams, a big point guard, Michael Carter-Williams is not a very good shooter. I don't know if he ever will be. He's just not a good shooter. You need to pair him up with someone who can be a really good, sharp shooter. But at the same time, if you're taking Exum at 3, this is why I think Stauskas is out of the equation. So I'm going to go with Dario Saric here.
Oh, Dario Saric instead of Nick Stauskas.
I like Stauskas more. But the thing is, if you're going with a point guard at number 3, you're not going to take another guard right here. You're not going to take another point guard. So I'm going to go with Dario Saric here, just for that reasoning.
Okay.
Which would leave me to take Stauskas at Denver.
All right, so that's through 11. What do we have? 12. The Orlando Magic.
That's kind of as far as I want to go because
now it gets wacky.
No. I'm serious. No, just for other reasons. I'd prefer not to go any further than anywhere further than 11. I mean, I can go all the way up to 15. I can go all the way up to 15 because I have that, but I'd prefer to stick it at 11 because this is where it starts to get a little interesting between 11 through 15. All
right, and I can certainly understand and appreciate what reading between the lines that one actually means. Totally get that. Yeah, it's gonna. So, as a scout, what is your job next week? Is it all organized? The big board's put together, or there's still a whole bunch of? How does it work as a scout? Like, what's the process?
The thing is, what people look at this point now is teams are still conducting workouts. I believe the Cavaliers had Jabari Parker today. Teams are conducting, workouts now, bringing multiple players a day. They're putting some against each other at this point. You're sitting there and evaluating the information you've had all season long. All season long. You can't just take in that someone, suddenly came up on your board 3 days ago. So what happens is you need to sit there and evaluate why you had a player ranked number 1 all season compared to just why you had him ranked number 1 all of a sudden. and what's changed since the season's ended. What has changed from watching physical game tape to watching a practice? You know, some guys look great in practice. Some guys can nail every shot in a practice. So you have to sit there, and it's mainly evaluating your notes, watching more film, seeing why, and going over and saying, why did I change my decision? You know, what propelled me to take Jabari Parker over Andrew Wiggins, because I've had Jabari all year on my board higher than Andrew.
Really?
No, I'm saying I didn't say that personally. You know I like Wiggins.
Yeah,
you know I have Wiggins on Parker on my board. That doesn't mean everybody has that.
Did you have Wiggins ahead of Embiid before the injury?
That was all depending on fit. Mine was all about fit for that one.
Okay. So there's last minute workouts being conducted. You're already have a baseline of what you saw on the game tape throughout the week, or throughout the season rather. That, you know, their entire body of work. Obviously, getting to know the person, talk with them, get a feel for what kind of human being they are. That can't be a bad thing. I'm sure that happens. How much of a role does that play in things? Like you hear about, you know, a certain player has to fit a certain style, a certain type of person.
It makes a big deal, because sometimes if you're looking at a coach that's going to have his style imprinted on a rookie, suddenly you have to sit there and say, okay, well, let's just say, for instance, you know, maybe Brad Stevens' style of play doesn't fit with Marcus Smart. Okay, you know, we're not going to take Smart because Brad Stevens is here for the long haul. Let's take someone else who fits perfectly with the system, who can blossom into a star. And I think that's the issue.
Okay. So then that's occurring right now. And I guess the only major things that we're going to have in between now and the draft is going to be some trades. You know, the Kevin Love, the Carmelo Anthony, you know, LeBron opting out, but that's going to be a little later. Carmelo has to be out in, what, like 4 days or something, right?
Something like that, yeah. I mean, Carmelo's already opted out, though. I think it's the earliest he can opt out, but I think that's when he will opt out. But, I mean, Melo will opt out. I mean, Melo wants a new deal. Melo has no reason to opt into that deal. There was none whatsoever.
So it's going to be interesting. A couple big names could possibly be on the move. A couple of this is a much better draft class than it was last year. That much is for certain. I mean, the Cavs are beyond fortunate to have won that lottery. And I just really hope we can do the right thing.
I reiterated last year that the Cavs won the lottery in the wrong draft a year ago. I said that multiple times.
Yes, you did.
It's too, and they got as lucky as can be. You know, this allows them to make up for their 3 past mistakes. And like I said, I was ready to call Bennett a mistake last year, because he was a mistake with the way he played. I'm going to give him a do-over this year, because I think he's going to put up much better numbers. Also, depending on who he's playing alongside with, too. You know, it depends if he's playing 30 minutes a night, 35 minutes a night, or if he's playing 10 minutes a night. I tend to think he'll be getting on the higher end.
You got to get minutes if you're going to get better. I mean, he was out of shape, I get it, but you got to get minutes if you're going to get better.
Yeah, and I mean, Cleveland really is a total mystery right now. We have no clue what this team is going to do. None. I mean, a lot of everything I've said is banking on whether you're going to get LeBron. Because if you get LeBron, you're getting someone else too. And I want to go back earlier. I mentioned a report from some reporter in Orlando.
Oh yeah.
Who was talking last night, because I know people hear stuff, and it was all over Twitter last night. I think it was absolutely ridiculous. If this guy's claiming to be an inside source or has inside sources, I'm going to call BS on this one. I'm not buying anything he says.
What was it?
Saying that he said LeBron stormed off of dinner last night with Mickey Harrison. I don't believe that one. I really don't. I think he's one of those incarcerated Bob guys going with a gut feeling and just saying it is news. Because if he's wrong, nothing happens. Everybody calls this guy a loser anyways. And if he's right, suddenly he's going to wind up starting to get tons of praise. And where'd you get your sources when, in fact, it was just a guess?
It's kind of specific guess.
Yeah, but, I mean, he's also the one talking that Carmelo right now, the Knicks are working on a sign-and trade for Carmelo for the number 1 overall pick. If Cleveland wants the next Carmelo Anthony, they can have him for way cheaper than Jabari Parker.
And younger.
I mean, it makes no sense to me why they would do it. Now, the only way it would make sense to me is because, and I'm not saying this is even a rumor because I'm shooting it down right now, but in the slight 0.02% chance this ever happened, and that might be giving it way too much. That might be giving it way too many legs for this one. But let's just say that happens. Let's say that the Cavaliers do wind up trading that number 1 overall for Carmelo. The reason they'd be doing that is trying to lure LeBron in. And that would be the only way I trade that number 1 pick for Melo.
And that's the tricky part here, not knowing what the pieces are in place. I mean, do you really go through whatever pick or trade based on a maybe from LeBron, who's burned you before and left you hanging at the last minute where you had like a 5-minute heads up?
I think the pieces would be on the wall right there, but don't forget, Carmelo can't even sign until July. He can't even sign until July 1st, I believe. And the draft is June 26th, which is why that rumor makes zero sense in the first place, unless the Cavaliers go in there and take Wiggins or Parker and then go trade them 5 days later for Carmelo Anthony.
That's so weird.
Which is why I don't think it happens, and I don't think that rumor has any legs.
Yeah, well,
I mean, this is why I think it's a BS rumor to begin with.
Yeah, and
I just want to shoot it down now because I know listeners who listen to the show, I'm sure heard that rumor because Dennis Mamiloff retweeted it last night, and there were a bunch of the Cleveland people talking about it. The Cleveland media were talking about it last night. So I don't think it has any wheels. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. But you know, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll sit there and I'll take the heat for it. But I don't believe I'm wrong in the situation. I think it would be crazy to think. I think the Knicks would do that in a second, though. If the Knicks knew that they're going to lose Melo anyways, what better than give Phil Jackson new face of the franchise?
Yeah, to start fresh with his guy.
Gets him cheap, frees up the cap from the following year, can build. He'll have another high pick next year. Goes out there and then he can really build, and then he can go get whoever he wants. They only have one player under contract. It'll be the number 1 overall pick. So I just don't see it going anywhere. But you know, like I said, stranger things have happened in the past.
Absolutely. Well, then let's do this. Let's keep in touch between now and the draft. Obviously, we'll connect afterward to kind of.
Well, I'll be in Philly. I'm leaving for Philly on Sunday and Monday, then heading to New York for the rest of the week. So.
Fun times,
let's just hope it goes well. So if I hear anything, I will, obviously we'll stay in touch.
Yeah. Give me a buzz off air, shoot me that text, or, we can do a rogue show if it's huge, important news, stuff going on. And of course, the wild card here is the Carmelo, the Kevin Love, the players that could be traded, the picks that could be traded, the injury to Embiid. I mean, a week ago it was looking like Embiid was the guy. Then all of a sudden this mysterious stress fracture in his foot. So a lot can happen between now and the draft, and we'll stay in touch between then. If you have anything crazy, make sure you tweet it and tag us at American_media_, and we'll send it out to our peeps for sure, man. So have a good draft week. I hope you stay well hydrated and well fed, and drink your echinacea and your emergency, and happy travels, and we'll be talking again soon with this really exciting time for the Cavs franchise, man.
Thank you.
All right, take care, Zach. Have a great weekend. Appreciate your time as usual. And if you have not had the chance to check out our homepage yet, please do so. It's thenewamericanmedia.com. On the bottom right side, you can click on Facebook and like our page. Bottom right side of thenewamericanmedia.com, you can also follow us on Twitter. We're at American_media_. And of course, you got to make sure that you subscribe. YouTube.com/thenewamericanmedia. 3 years of content. We just talked with John B. Wells, formerly of Coast to Coast AM, and he was just discussing, is it time to impeach the president? We did a 2-hour show on that. We're going to post that later. So check out all of our stuff, our sports, our politics, our spirituality, our finance, all the stuff that we cover. It's a lot of fun, and we appreciate each and every one of you. So my name's Brian Engelman, signing out for the TNAM Radio Network here at the New American Media. Hope you all have a great weekend, and I'll be talking with you soon. Go Cavs. Peace.